Hey guys, what's up? This is Mackenzie Criswell, and today I'm going to be taking another look at putting videos inside of Adobe Muse. Alright, so you may or may not recall a tutorial that I released probably about a week and a half ago. That's not what I want. For doing this, and this was a method using iframes, which definitely isn't a bad way to put videos inside of Adobe Muse. The issue is with the way that I showed you how to do it, it's not the most responsive of ways to put a video on your website, and on some browsers, mainly Firefox and Opera, it isn't actually even going to work because Firefox and Opera are kind of hipsters and don't support the same format that all the other browsers normally do unless you have a plugin for them. And it's just it's a mess, and I thought I'd fix it. You can use this particular method and it'll work fine under most circumstances, but I thought I'd show the other method for putting videos inside of Muse that's pretty much a lot more responsive. So before, if you'll recall, if you would have used that method, obviously if you were using Firefox to open it, probably wouldn't have played at all. The video had an autoplay feature on it that was very tricky to turn off. I didn't actually mention that in the tutorial before, but that was an issue that I had off and on. Sometimes it would play automatically, sometimes it wouldn't. But it was basically very distracting. You know, as soon as you loaded the page with the video on it, it'd take you right to the video, and it just really screw things up on the page and, you know, make you not even want to use it. So let's take a look at the video that I've embedded in a blog post that I've been doing. Here's the video right here, and I'll go ahead and reload the page just to prove to you that it's not auto playing or anything. Alright, we've got all the same controls that we would have before: full screen, play, you know, rewind, volume control, and whatnot. But let's go ahead and take a look at the video. It's pretty straightforward.
What country has the highest ratio of doctors to population?
The country with the most Jews? I would say Israel.
I agree.
You agree with that?
Israel.
It is?
But anyways, this is basically a much more responsive way of embedding a video into your site, and it's going to be a lot more helpful. It's going to actually be a reasonable way to use the videos inside of your Muse site rather than a very distracting way that I showed you before, which basically limits you to having absolutely nothing but a video on the page this is on. This is going to be a lot more helpful. So we'll go ahead and jump right into this. Let me see if I can get these keyboard shortcuts down. I cannot. Muse? Awesome. Alright, so if you see what we're using here, we're actually using a tag that's actually built for video, and it's a lot smaller. But what you can see is we actually have two different video files that we can play. We have one that's a gameshow.mp4, which is what's going to work in pretty much every browser, except for the hipster browsers. And then we have a gameshow.ogg, and that's another video format that's just going to work in everything else. And I believe there is a way to render OGG format videos out of Media Encoder if you're using Premiere and After Effects like I do all the time. But a cool app that I found on the Mac is something called Miro Video Converter. And this is just a really easy converter to download. It's free, and it'll convert to OGG for you. And if you're on the PC, I believe there's something called FreeMake. That's what I used to use when I was still running PC, and I believe it converts to OGG. You might want to check that, but you can find a video converter that'll get your files ready for you. But if we go ahead and open up the Finder it's going to work. Just give it a second. Okay. And go to the desktop. You can see I've got a whole bunch of stuff actually, but I've got a gameshow.mp4 and a gameshow.ogg. And what I want to do is go ahead and upload these to my site server. It's a little bit more straightforward if you're actually designing a website the more traditional way, but in Muse it's still pretty simple. What you're going to want to do is come up to File, Add Files for Upload, and you're going to want to come out to the directory where they both are, gameshow.mp4, gameshow.ogg, select them both, hit open, and then if you come to your assets panel, which is somewhere, there it is, and look around, you should have two files, gameshow.mp4, gameshow.mov, and I've also got a gameshow.mov, and I don't even know I have that. But same as if you saw the other tutorial, these are going to be in the directory on your site, your domain name, /assets, /the file. So let's go ahead and talk about how you would set this up. I just need to make sure I got the width and the height. 426 by 240. It's a weird resolution. But let's go ahead and just do object, insert HTML, and let's go. Now this is going to be one of the most powerful features in Muse if you have not already figured that out. The ability to add HTML snippets into your Muse site is literally amazing. It's one of the best things about Muse. So let's go ahead and just get started. It's going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to open a video tag, and it's really going to help to know at least a little bit of HTML here, but it's not going to be a big deal if you don't. We're going to type a source tag, src, and I'm just going to leave this for now, and we're going to do the same thing here. It's RC, not SCR, my bad. And then we're going to close that video tag with a open bracket, a opening triangle, or whatever this is called, and then a closing one. Inside of this video tag, we're going to go ahead and put in the width, which equal sign, two quotes, in between the quotes, 426, I believe it was. Yeah, and the height is 240. Height equals, again, two quotes, in between the quotes, 240. And before you had to type in like autoplay, autoplay equals false or 0, just depending on what browser you were working in, and then allow full screen, and a whole bunch of other stuff into this one tag. But what's cool about the video tag is if you just come in here and type the word controls, it's going to add all those controls by default. So that's a really cool thing that it does. Now under source, we're going to go ahead and add the links to those two video files. And I'm going to go ahead and type in McKinseyChriswell.com/assets /gameshow game_show.mp4, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this down here to save a little bit of time. Okay, equals, where's the equal sign? There it is. And paste, and I'll go ahead and just change this to OGG. Now the only other thing we actually have to do in this tag is specify what type of file it is. So I'm going to go ahead and put another command called type equals, close quotes, video/mp4, so that's telling this to read it as an mp4 file. You need to make sure you're closing these commands. Really quickly, some markup tags have to be opened and closed individually, and those are called container tags. And some are not container tags and can be closed all on the same line. It's a little bit confusing, but there's you can look it up. There's something called I believe it's W3D School. Let's see, w3schools.com. And there you can actually search all sorts of JavaScript tabs, SQL, jQuery, CSS, HTML, we said that. And you can search literally almost every piece of markup that there is there, and so you can just find it. So, for example, if I needed to look up the iframe tag, I would look up the iframe tag, and it would give me all sorts of useful information, what browsers it's supported by, what things I can add to it to help it, and all that kind of stuff, and what versions of HTML supports it, all that kind of stuff. But if you ever get confused about that, be sure to check out that website. I'll try to remember to put a link. And then, of course, we need to specify that this is indeed a video/OGG. Booyah. Alright, so what's going to be happening now within this tag is, first we've got our video, and the closing tag is just confirming, yes, this is video. It's going to go ahead and tell us the width, 426 by 240. This is what the video is going to be contained in, this width and height. We've got the source. This is where our video is going to be coming from. The first is, of course, the game shot on MP4. And since it's first, our browser is going to try to play this file before the OGG. If it cannot play it, the browser is then going to be smart enough to go ahead and say, okay, let's see if there's something else I can play, which is where this line comes into play, the MackenzieChriswell.com/assets, gameshow.ogg, video OGG, and it's going to say, alright, now I can play this. If your browser can't play either of these, your audience just needs to get a new browser. And you can type some text here to display if neither of these videos will load, and it does not. If your browser does not support the video tag, you can say browser sucks. Update it. Seriously. And that should help out. Alright, so when we hit OK, it's going to try to load whatever. It's probably not going to work because these files aren't actually uploaded yet, so no, yeah, that's not going to work. But if we go ahead and hit publish, it'll go ahead and get ready to publish our site, just like I normally would. And when I hit OK, it's actually going to go ahead and upload those video files that I've added. Alright, now once this is done, we can go ahead and open up our site. Here it is. I'll go ahead and come over to that page where I have it. See, it should be here. And if I scroll down to the bottom, I can see the two video files. Here is the one that I put there originally, and here's the second one that we've just added in this tutorial. We can play one.
What country has the highest ratio of doctors to population?
The country with the most Jews.
And then play the second.
What country has the highest ratio of doctors to population?
The country with the most Jews. I would say Israel. You have a doctor in every...
So these are both fully functional players. They're going to work great on basically any page you put them on. This Safari, I believe, is actually playing the MP4 file. Might be mistaken about that, but yeah. So hopefully this is going to be pretty helpful for you. Help you, if you're having trouble with the other method or just really can't find a better way to put a video in there. Hopefully this is going to help you out a little bit, because this is a much better way of doing so, at least in my opinion. But anyways, I'm Mackenzie Criswell, and I'll see you next time.